In the 2024 quarterfinals of ADCC Worlds, a relatively new face in Michael Pixley shocked the world versus the great Nicolas Meregali. But first, a little background on these two athletes.
A lot of hard work going into it.
Michael Pixley grew up wrestling and was among the most highly recruited wrestlers to come out of Missouri. He was a two-time Fargo champ, one of the most prestigious youth wrestling competitions in the country, as well as a state champ and All-American in high school. Michael Pixley then went on to win an NAIA national title at Grandview University, then proceeding to level up and win an NCAA D2 championship at McAndre University. Pixley then went on to dominate on the jiu-jitsu scene, having won multiple world and pan titles in spectacular fashion at the colored belt level. After winning the North American West Coast trials, Pixley punched his name into the ADCC World Championship, where he left his mark, showing he can hang with the greats. Now, if you're an OG and have been into jiu-jitsu for some time, the name Nicolas Meregali is almost impossible to avoid. Meregali is one of the legends of the sport, racking up numerous accolades under his name, including multiple world, pan, and Brazilian national title wins at black belt, as well as many podium finishes at ADCC Worlds. Winning in both gi and no gi was a symbol of Meregali's proficiency in jiu-jitsu. Add to joining and training under the greatest coach in jiu-jitsu, John Danaher, and there was no doubt that Meregali would be one of the favorites to win the tournament in 2024. Without further ado, now on to the breakdown. Meregali starts the match trying to show Pixley he's not afraid of his wrestling prowess. He goes for a collar tie, which Pixley instantly responds with an inside tie. He then goes for an over tie, grabs the inside of the arm with his free hand, slides him by, and tries for a big footed sweep. This is literally the opening sequence that Michael Pixley does in every single one of his fights. 15 seconds into the match and you can already tell that Meregali is going to have a hard time on his feet. Meregali showing Pixley he believes he can stand with him, goes for a big collar tie. Pixley again responds with an inside tie, transitions to an over tie, switches from the far hand to the near hand and does another slide by variation almost instantly. Then he follows it up with a snap and maintains constant pressure by constantly harassing the head. One thing you constantly notice is that the second Meregali collar ties, Pixley instantly responds with an inside tie to prevent himself from being snapped, and then he turns it into his own attack. Oftentimes I think too many pure jiu-jitsu guys allow themselves to get collar tied and don't know how to use their opponent's attacks to their own advantage. One thing you notice about guys from wrestling backgrounds is they don't hang out in tie-ups like pure jiu-jitsu guys often do. They constantly attack from the moment either player makes a connection. Here we see a thing of just beauty. Meregali punches in an underhook, where Pixley instantly responds to it with a heavy whizzer, connects hip to hip, and hits a big harai goshi. Pixley was able to generate so much power from this throw that Meregali ended up rotating 360 degrees. Thing is, Pixley has been using this counter since his childhood, and it's so cool to see his perfected craft executed on the biggest stage against some of the highest level guys in the world. Here we see Meregali not committing to the single leg, which Pixley then capitalizes on and snaps him into a front headlock. He uses a chin strap and overhook to snap him all the way to the ground and instantly begins to go for a gable grip to start attacking the darce, which is Pixley's strongest submission. Pixley submitted Vinicius Ferreira in the previous round with this darce as well. He rotates Meregali to his back, but Meregali times it well with Pixley's momentum and they disconnect from the position. And at this point, I think Meregali has had enough of Pixley's stand-up game and decides to concede and fight from bottom. I don't blame him, however, because I think most of us would have pulled guard against Pixley in 0.5 seconds. Now that Meregali has accepted bottom position, we have an established top and bottom player, and we can see Pixley just constantly disengaging and shoving Meregali, not really wanting to enter and get entangled into his guard. One of Pixley's favorite attacking positions is from the front headlock due to his wrestle jitsu style. Here we see Meregali brings his head just a little too far forward from his center line with an unbalanced base, which allows Pixley to easily and aggressively snap him down again into a front headlock. Here he uses a chest wrap connection, which is a very strong connection to make where we can drag our opponent back down when they try to 4-point up. Ultimately, Meregali just rolls to his back and Pixley vacates the position. At this point, we see Meregali getting frustrated, just trying his best to form some kind of connection, trying to lock Pixley in some sort of guard. Here he locks Pixley in the half guard, but we see Pixley just continue to back up and keep disengaging. This leads to the ref issuing him a warning about passivity, which is definitely something he doesn't want happening, which can eventually lead to a negative.
To your
Just
point,
as the
champ, no one will
commentators
attempt
start
to pass.
commenting about Pixley's passivity, he shuts them up with a beautiful flying knee cut, one of the signature passes of the Wrestle Jitsu style. I cover more of that in my Wrestle Jitsu video, which I will link down below. The cue here is the massive space between Meregali's elbows. In his frustration, he just wants a connection so bad that he leaves these massive gaps for Pixley to punch in an underhook with a collar tie and shoot in a beautiful flying knee cut to get past the guard of Meregali. For points to be awarded, Pixley needs to solidify the position for 3 seconds, so we see Meregali instantly going to the turtle, falls to his back before Pixley can make any meaningful connection. Pixley attempts to lock in a body lock, but it seems that he has an all or nothing mindset, trying his best not to get tied into the guard of Meregali. He knows Meregali can do a lot with an inch of space in the guard, so he completely disengages and exits the guard. This style can be extremely frustrating to go against, which is exactly what Pixley wants. Here we see Meregali is kind of in this headquarters / reverse De La Riva position where Pixley starts to back up. Meregali uses Pixley's backwards momentum, snatches up a single leg, and starts to come up, attacking the single. Pixley immediately puts one hand on the grip and collar ties with the other hand so Meregali can't get good head positioning, all while putting weight into his foot to break the grip. With this, he can bring his foot to the outside of Meregali's shin, switch to a whizzer, and use Meregali's pressure against them, hitting another big Harai Gashi. Upon hitting the ground, Pixley yet again goes for his signature finish, this time locking up the Darce and getting the final tap. This guy, who barely broke onto the scene, just submitted one of the biggest names in the sport, finishing the fight sensationally, shocking the world. Now, there is definitely an argument to be made that Meregali tapped due to a shoulder injury, as we can see here. I can't really tell if these were attempts to tap or not, but let this be a reminder not to post your arm on big throws and to use proper break falling techniques to avoid injury. At the end of the day, injuries suck. I'm suffering from one right now, and we don't want to be out of the game from something we could have avoided. Nonetheless, salute to both of these legends. They are still in the game till this day, inspiring and growing the sport of Jiu-Jitsu. If you guys enjoyed this video, please drop me a like and subscribe to me for more videos just like this. It would mean the absolute world to me. Also, drop me a follow on Instagram and TikTok where I post more of my daily life and we can connect. Until next time, os.